Yo, what's up, guys? Today's story time is about losing my virginity. Yeah, okay, so this one gets a little crazy. So, this story time actually takes place when I was in seventh grade. And when I was in seventh grade, I lived with my dad at the time, and he didn't really care, like, what I did, very much. Like, I was able to smoke. I was able to have girls over at the house if I wanted to. Like, there was a lot of stuff that most seventh graders couldn't do. Most high schoolers couldn't do that I was doing at home. But, so, there was this one girl that I used to hang out with all the time at school. Like, we used to hang out, like, all the time. And it was pretty obvious we both liked each other, but since I was in seventh grade, I was kind of, like, scared to ask her out. But one day I worked up the courage and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if she wants to come to my house after school because she smoked and I smoked. So, like, I wanted to see if she wanted to come to my house and smoke with me. So, like, at a break, I went up to her and I was like, hey, you want to come over to my house after school and we can hang out and smoke and stuff? And, like, she smiled and was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. And I was like, okay, cool. Oh, yeah, and her name is Emily. All right, that's the name we're going to give her for this story, Emily. So, Emily said, yeah, we can do that. She'll come to my house. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, should my dad take us to my house after school, or do you think your parents want to drop you off, or what? And she was like, your dad could probably pick me up, I'm sure. And so she said she'll text her mom and see what she had to say. And she texted her mom. Her mom said, yeah, that's fine. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to talk to my dad and make sure that he can pick you up too, and we can go to my house after school. And she was like, okay, yeah, sounds good. And then so I talked to my dad and asked him like what we were doing after like I got off school and everything because he'd pick me up sometimes, and told me he was going to pick me up that day because he wasn't working. So he said he'd pick me up, so I was like, okay, today's the perfect day to ask her. That way we can go hang out at my house. And he was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. She can come over. Like, I don't really care. I'll pick you guys up. And I was like, okay, cool. And then, like, the rest of the day went by. Nothing really happened. Just hung out. Fucking did nothing at all because I didn't do schoolwork then, basically. I didn't really do schoolwork ever, but especially at that time in seventh grade. Yeah, I know it's kind of crazy, but I never did schoolwork from like fifth grade to now. Really, like I just started doing schoolwork again because it's easy to cheat now. But actually, I did some schoolwork in eighth grade too because it was really easy to cheat. But I didn't really do anything till the end of the year when like I was gonna get failed if I didn't, and I didn't want to fail the eighth grade, so I did my work. My bad, guys. But yeah, so I asked her if she wanted to come over to my house. She said, yeah, sure, we can do that. Like I just said. And I was like, okay, cool. My dad came pick us up after the day ended. We kind of talked to him for a minute. Like, he just asked us, like, he asked her some questions. He was like, hey, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. And, like, just made some little small talk. And she was like, my name's Emily. Like, talk back. And then after that, we got to my house because it was about like 15 minutes away from the school. That's why I didn't really get picked up much. Most of the time, my dad, like, he wouldn't go to work until after I got off of school because he worked night shift. But since it was like 15 minutes away from the school, he didn't want to drive over there and get me when I could just be taking the bus. So, but this day he didn't have work, so he was like, fuck it, you know what, I'm gonna go pick him up. I'm sure he doesn't want to ride the bus anyway, because like it was like a 45-minute ride on the bus. This wasn't when I lived in my uncle's house, this was a different time. If you guys are wondering, like, because I said I only live like 5 minutes away from the bus, or 5 minutes away from the school in my last story, I think. Yeah, that's why, because I wasn't living with my uncle anymore at this time. Or actually, no, this was before I was living with my uncle. What am I talking about? But so this was before I was living with him, and we were like 15, 20 minutes away from the school, living with my dad. And so we headed back to my house, and we were really just friends. Like, I hadn't tried to get with her or anything yet, like, tried to ask her to be my girlfriend or like flirt with her or anything. But we were at my house, and like we went in my room and we're hanging out and smoking and everything. Like, we both smoked. Yeah, in seventh grade we were still smoking. Like, in my town, that's a pretty regular thing. So we were smoking, hanging out, taking bong rips. I had some super fire shit that me and my uncle had just grown. It was some black runts. I had like probably like 4 ounces of that, so that was pretty cool. You know, we were just taking bong rips. We smoked a couple blunts because she wanted to smoke a blunt, and I had some blunt wraps. So I was like, yeah, sure, we can do that. Like, I'll roll some up, and she was like, okay, cool. Because she didn't really like taking bong rips because she would cough hella bad. So we just smoked blunts, hung out, you know. And then after a while, we were sitting there playing games, and then like she kind of scooted closer to me a little bit, and then like handed me the blunt, and then like it was her turn to play on the game, and we were both sitting on the bed, you know, and it was her turn to play. We were playing GTA, I'm pretty sure, and so I gave her the controller, and then I kind of just laid back on the bed and was hitting the blunt, and then she like laid back next to me and was like, "Give me the blunt," because like I didn't pass it to her for like a minute. So like, "Give me that fucking blunt," and she like laid back next to me and took it and was hitting it, and then we were laying there for a minute, and I just like looked at her, and I was just kind of like staring at her for a second while she was hitting the blunt. And she smiled and was like, "What the fuck you staring at me like that for?" And I was like, "My bad." And she was like, "No, that's cool. I like it." And I was thinking like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, what she just say?" But like, she was hot, so like, I didn't care. It's not like I was gonna be like, "Wait, what? We're friends?" Like, nah, bro. I'm trying to hit, but uh, so like, I didn't ask her to come over like as a date or anything, but I'm pretty sure she knew what I was trying to do. Like, you know, she's not stupid. And so after that is when she said she liked it. I was like, "What's that supposed to mean?" And she was like, "Whatever you think it means." And then I was like, "Oh shit, okay." Like I didn't say that. That's what I was thinking. And then like I hit the blunt again, and I passed it back to her, and she took a hit off the blunt, and she looked at me, and like we were both looking at each other for a second, and then she like put the blunt on the ashtray, just set it on top of the ashtray, and like kissed me. And then, like, so obviously, I started kissing her back, you know, like, it's not like I'm gonna pull away or anything. So I was horny. I was fucking 7th grade. But so then we started kissing and everything, you know. And after a second of us just kissing, then, like, I, like, put my arms over her and, like, kept kissing her. And, like, my dad wasn't in the house at this point because, like, we had a fireplace, so he was outside chopping wood, and then he came in and told us he was leaving the store, which was like right up the road. So we were like, okay, cool, whatever. So then we both went into my room while my dad was going to the store, you know, and so nobody was home. And then after a second of us like holding each other, kissing, and like we didn't know what we were doing at the fucking 7th grade, but so after like a minute of that, like I just kind of like slid my hand down to like her pants, you know, and was just like set my hand that we were kissing. And she literally like slid my hand into her pants. So I was like, oh shit, alright. So then like obviously like I started doing my thing, you know, like I started fingering her and shit. And then like she was being hella loud because I think that was like the first time she ever did anything with anybody, you know? So like I was fucking fingering her and she was being loud as fuck. And then like she came hella fast. And I probably get into too much detail, I don't know, but I'm not gonna like leave shit out to make the story time not as good. But and then after that, after she came and shit, then like she like pulled off her shirt and like pulled her pants down, and then like she got down and like pulled my pants off of me, and I was like, oh man, and like she gave me head and shit. And I ain't gonna lie, I came hella fast too. Like that was the first time I ever did anything, and I came hella fast. And then after that, um, like my dad was still gone, and then like she kind of just lay next to me on the bed, and I kind of just like rolled over on her, kind of, and then like we started doing it, you know, and after a minute of us doing it, and like she was being loud as fuck again. Then like she turned around and like I started hitting it from the back, you know, and then like after like probably like 5 minutes of that, 5-10 minutes, something like that, then like we were done, and then got dressed and shit, and just like hung out and kept smoking, and then like 2 days later I asked her my girlfriend, and she said yeah, so then that happened a lot more times, but yeah, that was how I lost my virginity. Kind of a weird way to lose my virginity. Like, It's kind of abnormal, but yeah, that's how it happened for me. So if you guys want, you can leave your story times down in the comments. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, that's how I lost my virginity when I was in 7th grade. But if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit, you know. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys again tomorrow.